gives you an in-depth look at topics like what it takes to navigate your spiritual journey, how to heal yourself and grow your spiritual gifts, and balanced practices to expand your business and your spiritual leadership. I'm your host, Spirit Bird, shamanic teacher, healer, and author, here to guide you on your journey to becoming your most potent spiritual leader. You know what doesn't work? Saying really spiritual things and hoping someone will notice you. Doing kind things and hoping that the payment will be returned. Getting an office or a retreat center or a website and hoping people will just come. These were things that I thought I needed to do to grow a spiritual business. And what I've learned does work is knowing who you want to help and having a clear offer. A lot of us, myself included, focus externally on what we think makes business happen. Getting a site or a logo, or getting a marketer, or writing a blog. Doing things that are focused externally on showing that we're doing a thing, but it's actually what's inside you that makes the business happen. The fourth part of our 4-part framework for Shaman School, our deep dive, is developing offers. And I'm getting more and more passionate here because so many programs and courses just skip this step. They're either teaching like marketing and growing your business, ways to call in clients, but not how to use your unique gifts to help the right clients for you in the most aligned way. Or they teach just spiritual info or knowledge or tools. And then you're sort of on your own for the rest for how to use them or build a business or life you want with them. I have to add here real quick that even if your goal, because a lot of people are called to shamanic training and it's not because they're trying to be the shaman, right? At least not like in a direct way with like an offer that this is their business. So even if your goal isn't to bring a new offer into your business or start a business, even if you're seeking spiritual training to show up as a better leader in your company or the company you work for, or create change inside the medical system or academia or corporate systems. Even if that is what you're more interested in, you still want to have clarity on what you're trying to do and also action steps to implement it. This is all about your unique offer, like the part of what you're here to do, and also having a clear strategy and way forward. Creating your offer, so to speak, is about merging your personal unique gifts with what's in line with your soul work and allows you to live a thriving and joyful life and allows you to work with the people who you signed up here to help and who signed up to have help from you. This is where purpose and experience helping others comes together. And once you're clearer on what you're designed to do and what you really love to do, as well as who you want to help and in what ways, from there we can create a goal for how you want to show up in the world and what you want to change. If you're here in shaman school or courting shaman school, it's likely that you know your next step isn't just about learning tools or rituals, but applying them to your life to start or grow your business. We're not about just thinking about it. We actually want to help you do it. So if you're ready to start your business formally, or you've been coaching or healing or running a business and you're feeling like it's time to change your offer, there's a few steps I want to share with you today to help you get clear on that. So, if you're on the go while you're listening to this, you can maybe just bat a few ideas around, but it might be helpful to come back to this and jot down some notes. So, first and foremost, take a second and kind of close your eyes and just take a couple breaths and find your center. Find your higher self. And begin to focus or feel into who you want to help and with what. And if you're taking notes, just jot down whatever comes to mind here. It might be a lot, it might just be a few things. Something that I find helpful is to think about maybe somebody you actually know in your life, where you're like, oh, you can really see their potential. You can really see their potential. And it's like, if you could just do these couple of things, your life would totally change and it would be so beautiful. And maybe even focus in on that person. Who is that person? What are they struggling with? What are they talking? What are they complaining about? Because this is an important part about creating a valuable offer, is we want to understand them and what they're thinking and struggling with, and focus on what they want versus how you do it or what gifts you have as the practitioner. That's not actually what matters. I mean, it matters, but that's as far as like having a clear offer and communicating that, it's not about your certifications or your specific magic. That part is kind of for you. You need to know that so you can know how to apply your medicine, right? But in order to meet those that the offer is for, you need to know what it is that they actually want. You could focus on things like, again, I feel like it's helpful here to start to track what they complain about. Maybe it's that they want better health or want to stop drinking, or, it's anxiety or stress, or they're not sleeping, or it's really specifically like they're up with their trauma, or maybe they're awakening and disoriented, or maybe it's money, or really wanting a soulmate. Maybe they just keep getting in partnerships with the totally wrong people for them. Maybe they just complain about how they feel like they never have time or support. Right? So we want to feel into what they're complaining about, because that's the solution that we help them with. As a practitioner, actually, your job is to help them all the way through the process of whatever they're doing that's got them into this place where they keep hitting the dead end. I always think I kept honeybees for years when I lived in Georgia. And I learned that honeybees actually, when they hit a wall, they'll instinctually go right every single time. That's why it's hard for them to like get out of little corners and stuck places. And so, as practitioners, we become the people that help them see the other way and guide them into choosing the other way. And also, this is where the offer, having clarity on your offer is really important, and understanding what solution you provide for them is really important because, again, people, maybe what they actually need is to find inner peace, but they're not going to pay for inner peace and stay motivated for that, even though that might actually be the medicine you provide for them. That's not what they're going to sign up for. They're going to sign up because they're sick of fighting with their partner, or they're tired, they can't sleep at night, or whatever the issue is. There's a way that I do that in shaman school also, like, in a forward-facing way, in a direct way, I offer shamanic training. But also what I really do is teach people how to use their spiritual gifts and help them move through the fear or the procrastination of actually sharing them. Right? So I know that's what I do. And I know that I awaken magic and grow awareness. And help people experience self-trust. So that's not usually why they sign up for shaman school. Right? So this is a really big, important part of your offer. What problem do you solve for them? And then from there, because if you're normal, you probably got a few ideas floating around, right? There's lots of things you probably can help people with or would be good at helping people with. And there's probably like a gazillion people that you want to help. So after you play around with a few of these ideas, you want to, from there, test the alignment. So taking one of those ideas of the problem and kind of getting clearer on who they are and how it affects their life, and the solution that you offer, just kind of want to close your eyes again and feel into that, and maybe even feel like, on a scale of 1 to 10, how excited are you about doing this? If it's not really high on the scale, what would make it more exciting to you? Again, here, just as an example with shaman school, I also really like helping people move through that fear of sharing their spiritual side. And in some ways that can be direct. In some ways, some of the pain or what they might complain of or complain about is feeling like nobody understands them, or people don't get them, or they can't share how they honestly feel, right? Those might be some of the problems they're experiencing. And so again, even though I might provide sort of the solution of helping you move through that stuck place and begin to trust sharing your spiritual side and allowing yourself to do it, like, that alone doesn't totally excite me. One of the things I love the most is navigating spiritual realms, navigating the unseen world, traveling, showing up in journeys and dreams, and being in that unseen world. And I really love exploring that with other people. And it's one of my natural gifts. And that's one of the reasons that I offer shamanic training, because I'm not just interested in doing business coaching. It's definitely not my jam, definitely not my genius. I'm pretty good at it, actually, but it's definitely that alone wouldn't be enough for me. I wouldn't be filled up by doing that. I have learned, if I do something that I think will make me money, but I'm not actually aligned with, or secretly or subconsciously don't actually want to do, it won't work. So this is where testing your alignment is really important, and creating an offer that's valuable and that works. An example actually is, before I started the shaman school program, before I started offering even private healing work formally, I actually started by offering meditation courses and meditation coaching. And I am very experienced in meditation and I know it pretty well and I'm good at it. And I am a good coach for helping you learn how to meditate and use it in your life. But that's not what I wanted to do. And also, I wanted to work with more advanced practitioners doing work on evolutionary edges. There's certainly nothing wrong with obviously helping people that are at that spot that are learning meditation, and the value of it and how to bring it into your life is like a super important role and a super important job. And so I'm really grateful for the people that are really called to do that work. Right. But for me personally, I offered it because I thought it was easier to talk about and would attract more people and more people would want it. That was my own learning of bringing my spiritual side forward, where that like was a thing that felt safer and I thought would be easier to sort of sell. And I did okay, but I didn't do great. And it really wasn't until I got really in alignment again with the things that lit me up that my business started to take off. And also that I got clearer on what I help people with. So another trick I want to throw out there for you to play around with when working on the offer that's wanting to be born from you is, does it pass? I'll start with this actually. Try to list a handful of things that you feel like you personally keep struggling with, that you keep trying to accomplish or feel like you can't get on the other side of, or maybe complain about in your life. And after you've made that list, and then check your offer against it. Is some of the things that you help other people the same thing that's on your list? Because if it does, then there's a good chance that you're the right person for it. Because it's more valuable to learn from somebody who's learning the thing themselves. Like if you're just a natural at doing something, it's harder to teach how to do it to people that struggle with doing it. For me, some of those things are, being more open with my spirituality. Standing in my center and self-trust as a leader. Another thing that I struggle with or keep learning is judgment, like undoing the judgment that we have for ourselves that keeps us from self-acceptance. You might feel like you're forever struggling with boundaries. You'd probably be a really good boundaries coach. Or sharing your voice. Or struggling with receiving. Or struggling with self-doubt. So that's another trick. When you're testing the alignment of the offers you're playing around with, is it something that you're also working on yourself? Because if it is, you're probably on the right track, even though it feels uncomfortable. And then from here, you want to start to bring a structure in, right? So let's say you help people with, let's just say you help people with speaking in public. Odds are that they're probably not going to get their solution, make the transformation in one session with you. So it's important when you get clear on what you actually want to help people with. And you got to start somewhere. Like you can add stuff on in the future, but it's a lot more helpful to start with one thing. Right? And so you want to, here again, maybe close your eyes and just sort of find your center and get clear for yourself. And then ask yourself, like, how long or how many sessions do you think it would honestly take to really help somebody all the way through that process and get them to the other side, to the transformation? or at least to the next stage, the next big point. And take note of that, because that's how you build your offer. You need to include that in your package. There's a way a lot of us as healers or practitioners or coaches, we sort of like cut ourselves short because it might seem like it's more appealing to have a shorter course or package, or because it's scary to charge the value of what we actually provide. Or we get scared that like at least something is better than nothing. Like, let's keep selling a single session instead of a package, because at least if somebody's saying yes, it's better than nothing. But we end up actually cutting ourselves off before we get to where we're going. And this is important too, because there's a way that by offering shortened versions of what will actually help someone all the way through their process, when we do that, we're actually doing a disservice to them, to us and to them, by essentially selling them something that might help temporarily, but doesn't actually create the transformation that they're looking for. Right. And so it's more beneficial to us and to them to have an offer that helps them all the way through the process, and find the people that want to commit to actually seeing the changes instead of just applying bandages, right? Like, it helps them too. If you're in the spot where you, again, are feeling into creating a business or an offer, or you've already been doing one and you can feel like it starts, usually, for me anyway, it starts in my body where I can feel that something wants to shift and it's time again to like sort of birth a new project. So here you want to track or be aware of your own unfolding. So for example, if you're already offering spiritual work or coaching work or courses or whatever, and you're feeling called to offer something new, what might be happening is it's time to undo the really strict structure or method that you've been using that feels comfortable. That could look like maybe you've been doing a everybody starts at the same time and ends at the same time course. Or maybe it looks like they did get like step 1, step 2, step 3 with worksheets or something like that. And what's actually being called for is for that to shift. Because usually when we've been doing something for a while and we get comfortable, we usually get bored. And when we get bored, then our work isn't as powerful or effective, and we fall out of alignment. And then this also doesn't serve our clients, even if we're getting them. And of course, I mean, I want to, of course, say here, it's natural to go through ups and downs as an entrepreneur. Like, as an entrepreneur, roller coaster. I mean, how many times have you been like, I'm out. I'm done with this. I'm done, and then you get back into it and you get inspired again, and you remember why you're doing all this, and it's all worth it again. And then you go back to like, oh, no, I'm done. So of course, remembering that there's some ups and downs, and sometimes those challenges will be because you're in a down spot, but sometimes it's because it's actually time to shift what you're doing, right? Again, to do the opposite of what you normally do. And on the other side of it, maybe if you've, again, been doing something that's really structured, that it's time to move more into flow and step into the mystery of what it's like to work in that place of mystery with your clients. Or it might be the opposite. Maybe you've been doing that. Maybe you've just sort of been like rolling with it, and there's not actually a plan or a structure, and you just sort of flow with it. And it's actually time to bring in a structure into your program or your system. It might be that you've been offering individual work, one-on-one work, and it's time to go to group work. That might be what's being born in you, or the opposite, vice versa. It also can look like you're actually your offer is the exact same, and you're offering the same thing, But what you're actually shifting is it's time to evolve yourself and offer it to another audience. So keep that in mind too as you're playing around. It's growth if you're there. It's a good thing, even though it can feel like scary because it's like, this thing is working, but I'm not feeling nourished and it's time to change. And so there's a little period there where you kind of got to walk out on the edge and take a risk, right? But this is all part of being a spiritual entrepreneur. And so again, as you're playing with the offer, knowing who you serve, what you help them with, testing to see if it's aligned with what brings you joy, and then being aware of where you are on your journey, what else in your method or system is wanting to shift, to grow or stretch you. But coming back around is, the bottom line is this has to be clear for most of us. I mean, every once in a while, there's like a maverick that comes in and does something totally different, right? But it's probably not you. It's certainly not me. So the bottom line is you got to be clear for yourself, like internally, before you start hiring out other services, before you have somebody build your website, but you don't even actually know what you do, or you have so many offers that people don't know what to pick, or you start offering something that's not actually a match for, what's in the highest service for you. And you also have to be comfortable selling it yourself. There again, you can hire out people that will help you sell, but if you're not actually comfortable or available to sell it yourself, at least first, it's not going to be super profitable when you bring somebody else in because you won't be in alignment. You're going to block it. You're going to sabotage it. And I guess it's just one final piece. As a spiritual entrepreneur, as entrepreneurs in general, as healers in general, your offers will change at some point. So it can feel kind of constricting maybe when you're playing with a new one because you're just like, I'm an infinite being. I have all these things that I can do, right? And so it can feel like constricting to narrow it down so much. But remember that you can serve more that way when you're really clear and sort of have that precision, right? And so if you're sort of feeling spinny and all the things you want to do, again, you can kind of test. And I love on a scale of 1 to 10, how much does this excite me method? Because it gives you like really clear results that you can't argue with. So what are you most passionate about right now? If you're like me, if you have natural spiritual gifts, especially if you have natural shamanic gifts, then there's a way that you can often see like years down the road. And so that can make it challenging to figure out what you want to do now. Because it's like, yeah, but I can sense that in 3 years, I'm going to be doing this. So I like to bring it back with what makes me most excited right now at this moment. Because that's where you'll be most potent. And I actually wanted to share an offer with you. If you're in that spot where you're playing around with a new offer, and especially if you want to maybe test it out in the form of a ceremony or like a workshop or a group day, I actually have an offer. It was from a challenge I did last year. It's called Creating Authentic Ceremonies. So it's the recording from that challenge, and I walk you through locating areas where you are blocked or feel uncomfortable and how to move through those and how to work this piece with talking to the right client about what it is that you help them with. So it's a really great place to maybe test out your offer or get out there and try things on a little bit before you launch a huge program. So if you're interested in that, I'd love to give that to you for free. Just send me a DM at Holton Healing Arts, or you can email me. And of course, you can find that information on my website as well. But yeah, send me a little DM and let me know that you're interested in the Creating Authentic Ceremonies offer, and I will send that over to you right away. So I wanted to share that with you to help you on this part of your journey. Yeah, so that concludes the 4-part of our deep dive here, the 4-part framework that we use in Shaman School for personal development and for business development. Thanks so much for joining me today. Again, don't forget to send me a DM, and I'll see you next week. Bye-bye for now.
Have you been hearing the call to expand your spiritual gifts and step into your next level of conscious leadership? If you're a coach, healer, or a spiritual leader, you can learn more about Shaman School and growing your spiritual business on our website, holtonhealingarts.com, or send me a DM at Holton Healing Arts. Welcome to today's Member Query episode, where we explore questions about spiritual paths, intuitive gifts, growing a spiritual business, and shamanism. Do you have a question for us? Send us a DM at Holton Healing Arts.
This question, again, comes from one of our Facebook group members, and the question is how to reconnect when you're feeling lost. And I find that the simplest answer for you is to do something fun. What inspires you? What makes you laugh? What makes you feel good? Do something to break you out of your pattern and have a little bit of fun. Shake it up. Oftentimes when we feel lost, what happens there is we beat ourselves up a lot for not doing a thing or doing a thing wrong. And the easiest way to break that pattern is to just treat yourself to something, again, something that's fun, or if you need some extra self-care, just going ahead and splurging, getting the massage, or, going to see some live music, or going to a place where you can bond with people. It might even be like watching an inspiring movie. So the best way to reconnect when you're lost is to do something fun. Give yourself some joy. That will be what you need to break yourself out of that pattern.
I hope you enjoyed this episode of Leading with Spirit. If you did, please share the link for this episode with your biggest takeaway, tagging me at Holton Healing Arts. It would also support me if you subscribed and left a rating and review of the show so we can support more people living their highest purpose. Until next time, journey on.